Okay, this is part F from the adding and subtracting fractions question on the back of that worksheet. And this one's a little more complicated, so that's why we're going to do it as an example. So your first step is to compare those denominators and think, what can I use as my common denominator? And preferably your lowest common denominator will make things even more simpler. So if you have a single x in any of the denominators, then that's going to have to be as part of our common denominator. If you have a single y in either of the fractions, you're going to need to use a y. You're going to have to put an x squared or a y squared if any of the denominators have a squared in them. And then you compare your numbers, 2 and 3. So when you normally add fractions with a 2 and a 3, you would very instinctually know it's going to be a 6. So that's going to be our common denominator, 6xy. And then we are going to multiply each fraction by varied amounts to make that denominator happen. So the fraction on the left, it's going to need a 3. 3 times 2 is going to make it 6. We've got to do that to the top and the bottom. And it's going to need an x on the top and the bottom. And then the fraction on the right is going to need to be multiplied by 2 to get a denominator of 6. And it's also going to need to be multiplied by y. And that looks quite messy at the moment, but you'll see when we clean it up how it's going to work out quite nice. So fraction on the left, 3 times 5 is 15. X times x is x squared over 6xy. I'm going to rearrange the y and the x to put the x first. And then we're going to subtract the other fraction, and you'll see it works out nicely. 2 times 2 is 4. Y times y is y squared. And the denominator is going to be 6xy. So we were successful. We have our denominators matching. We've changed the numerators as well. And now we can write it as one fraction with a common denominator of 6xy. There's not much we can actually simplify in the top. We're just going to write it out as 15x squared minus 4y squared. We can't go 15 minus 4 because x squared and y squared aren't like terms. So again, it doesn't look like it's the most simplified expression, but we wrote it as one fraction, and that is the goal.